11 practices in, and live scrimmage situation today in a number of things. We goal line, did normal downs, coming out, we did a third and a fourth down period, a little bit of kicking in there, which was a good start for us. Kind of shows the progress we've made up through 11 days. This next week we'll go on the field a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Friday, and then Saturday with what that showcase will be. The thing I'm going to get done this week is we'll have a normal in-season Thursday practice for us, which I want them to understand what that looks like before we get into the fall. And we'll have a normal in-season Friday, which is extended meetings and some of the things we do on a run-through on Friday, just so when the first game rolls around, it will not be new to them, to our team. So, and it's everybody, it's organization-wise on how we operate in the season. So those would be good to be able to get behind us and learn from. And then on Saturday, we'll have a combination of some practice, some scrimmage situations, just like we do in 11-on-11 during our normal practices. So it'll be a great day. It'll be an awesome opportunity for our fans to come out. Looks like it's going to be sunny and 65, so we need some of that around here, which would be nice to be in the stadium. And our guys have made a lot of progress, so excited about where we are and what we will do this next week to finish off spring practice.
You think one side of the ball had an edge today, Barry?
Yeah, without looking at video, just standing back looking, I thought defensively made a little more plays on the line of scrimmage. That may be wrong after I get through the video, but just after 2.5 hours of work, it's kind of what it seemed to me.
Do you have any update on the player that went down towards the beginning of practice?
No, I mean I've done exactly what you've seen me do for the last 2 hours, and we'll get an full injury update as soon as I get off the field. And they might not know at this point on, there's a number of guys that got banged up a little bit, as we'll get a full report later this afternoon.
Georgia been developing as like a pretty important piece for you guys potentially this fall.
Yep.
How was he factoring into what you thought this offense could be?
Yeah, all of our tight ends are so important with what we're going to be able to do in the personnel packages and how we can put that together. Georgia certainly had a great camp. He's got great skill, can do a lot of things, and we're excited about the tight ends. In that room, I think Coach Henson and Coach Spurlock have done a great job coaching those guys. And it's got to be an advantage for us in the run game and then also in the throw game. They can be some mismatches for us. We've recruited well at that spot.
Hey, quarterback play, can you assess that? Did any quarterbacks stand out, or just overall, how you thought they played?
Again, and I'm not trying to run from the question. It would be unfair for me to say right here after managing the practice without looking at play call matchup on how they executed to make a statement on that. I do think 4 guys have made a lot of progress through 11 days. And can we play winning football with any of that group right now? I don't know that. I think we're getting closer every single day to be game ready.
This last week, Thursday, you said you're going to go through typical fall Friday run-through type thing. Saturday, obviously, the showcase. What do you need to get out of the other couple of days?
Our non-practice days are almost as important as our practice days. The way that we make corrections, and work in the weight room, and then the way that we're trying to improve our roster as far as what they understand on just football IQ. So it's a huge important week for us. And we've got plenty of time, but absolutely no time to waste.
How has Evans Chuba grown since he's gotten here?
I think understanding of the offense. I think he's been a little more patient and let some things come to him. And we're still, as they all are, it's a work in progress. But I think just a grasp of what he can do skill set wise, and I think it's a little bit unfair to all the quarterbacks in some of those situations that some of the quarterback run game, were they down, were they not down? Could they break out, scramble, and make some things happen? You never can be right on, the defense was mad, it wasn't called a sack. The offense was mad, it was called a sack. So, all I know is I want those guys healthy when we start fall camp. So it's one way to try to do it.
11 practices in, right? Just give us a couple of things you've been pleased with, a couple of things you feel think need some work.
Yeah, I love what the assistant coaches have done on teaching our team. I love the way that our players have attacked every single day, and the willingness to be coached allow us to try to teach and put schematically what our base stuff is together. I like the effort and the strain that the team has shown. I think we've got an opportunity to continue to develop our physicalness, which we will need so much, but we're night and day better than where we were when we started in January in that regard.
How important was it that Bennett stayed here through the spring, the guy who had been here with the previous regime, when you bring in 3 transfer quarterbacks, just to kind of give these guys a feel of what West Lafayette is, what Purdue football is?
Well, I think all of the guys on the roster that decided to stay, that's their decision to make, and certainly excited Bennett did give us an opportunity, and I think we had the chance to talk to him about, we told him early and often, as I did everybody, if you stay, number one, it'll be the most rewarding athletic experience you are a part of, and number two, you'll get every opportunity in the world to go compete for a job, and that's held true for 11 practices with everybody on the roster on the way we practiced.
Are you coming to the end of the spring thinking that you have a starting quarterback on this roster, or you've been upfront about how much this roster could still change between now and the start of August? Does that still apply to quarterback?
I think our quarterback's here, and then who knows what's going to happen when the window opens up. We'll lose some, we'll gain some, and if we happen to lose somebody, then it's our charge as a staff. Somehow, some way, we got to upgrade. We got to find a way. And there's a lot of really good players here, and there's a lot of good players out there that would fit into who we are, program-wise, and what we're going to go do. So I want them all to stay, and then we'll see what that looks like.
Barry, you got the big linebacker out of the portal, Sanders Ellis, and you said earlier you're probably going to hit the portal pretty hard in April. Is that still the case?
We've still got open spots available. There's active recruiting going on that are, we understand on what we think to build the team the way it needs to look on positions. We're probably going to, really be select and direct about to try to find a way to build a winning roster. And, hopefully, again, we don't lose anybody, but if we did, then, we got to be ready to go replace them.
You guys already, your recruiting staff, are they already evaluating guys who are in the portal, guys who might go in the portal? Like, how far ahead do you guys look to try to be ready for those contingencies when that opens?
Yeah, we're always, just like we are in our high school recruiting, every single day we've got a staff that's spending time on that along with our assistant coaches. So it's not an exact science, but at least we feel like it's a formula that can help us go get the guys here we need to win.
Any health updates like Magwood, or I saw Malachi out there at least going to drills. The safety from Memphis.
They've all made progress. The ones that have been out for most of the spring, they've all kind of worked back. Besides Mo, they all worked back this week in individual drills. So we're in a pretty good spot. At the end of spring ball, I would say most of college football is we're probably on the plus side of having luck on our side with that. One thing I didn't say, Coach Katie here joined us for practice today. What an honor it is for me and our program to have a legend, a Hall of Famer, the best that's ever done it at his craft, and then to research it and get to know him the 3 months that I've been here, or 4 months. What a great story, multi-sport athlete at Hutchinson Junior College, and went on to K-State. He's a great quarterback there, drafted by the Steelers, and then the run he made. I know he's with Eddie Sutton at Arkansas. They made it to the Final Four, and then 6-time National Coach of the Year. I'm going to leave out, I think he had a run of 18 tournaments here at Purdue, was on the Dream Team in 2000 as a coach, in every Hall of Fame you could be in, and to me, he exemplifies for what our program, the hard, smart, and tough. I remember watching Coach on the sideline. I was a Billy Tubbs and Oklahoma Sooners fan back in just because of where I grew up, and so I was in basketball watching it, and I always knew when Purdue was on how they were going to play. And then you fast forward years later, one of my closest friends is Conzo Martin. When I was at Missouri, he was there as well, so I've kept in touch with him, and what an honor to have Coach here with us today.
How much do you ingrain yourself kind of right away? You've been at a lot of different places now in that community, and just kind of getting to know the background of the sports.
Anytime you can I'm trying to find anybody that's had success. Shoot, he did it for 25 years here. Obviously he had a formula that worked. And so I love all sport and find a way to, what worked for him and how it worked. And I remember trying to think what year it was, them and Duke, and they had, what a classic game that was. I thought the officiating was awful, by the way. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember yelling at the TV. They were wrong.
Would have been 94. I believe.
94, yeah. So I was, I guess, a senior in high school. So I remember that game very, very vividly.
When you guys are recruiting in the portal, how do you go about figuring out whether a guy will be a good culture fit?
Yeah, it's research. It's trying to find out. We've got a list of tough questions that we go through that anybody that's associated with the kid, either guardian or parent or high school coach or anybody that we can get in touch with, find out as much information as we can, and hopefully those guys that we've recruited before somewhere, somehow, and we didn't end up, either coach them or ended up in different spots. So try to get all the info we can.
Coach, how beneficial is it to have a guy like Devin who's been here, a leader like that? He's seasoned. Just how pleased have you been with him?
I think experience matters so much in every situation. Devin's done a great job on being steady in his approach. He's got an opportunity to leave here as one of the all-time. You look historically, you look at statistical leaders. He's in the mix. So love his work ethic, and what a wonderful young man he is.
Thanks.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys.
Have